Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council for Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. Meeting announcements. Budget hearings will continue virtually this afternoon at 1:30 with the Commission on Human Relations, Carnegie Library, Oakland Business Improvement District, and Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership. Councilman Kraus and Councilman Lavelle will be chairing all those meetings. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle.
Here.
Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Kel Smith, President.
Here. 9
members present.
Thank you. As we join from our remote locations, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our next order of business is proclamations, and we have a will of council for Councilwoman Gross. Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 946. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh hereby calls on the 5th Judicial District of Pennsylvania to extend the moratorium on filing new actions for evictions for non-payment of rent or lease under the terms of the Landlord-Tenant Act of 1951 until at least October 1st, 2021. Council further calls upon the 5th Judicial District of Pennsylvania to extend an identical moratorium on proceedings relating to all such eviction actions for cases filed after March 16th, 2020.
You've heard the reading of the titles. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to approve in a second?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gross?
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate it. So we know that renters have had a series of different moratoriums. There was the 5th Judicial District, and then there was a statewide one, the CDC one, but they're coming to an end. And what we're seeing is a real surge in filings for evictions, even against some of the moratoriums. And so this is a call again to our division in Western Pennsylvania, to the court system, to help slow those down, to put these moratoriums in place, or we're only going to see an increase in people who are homeless or unhoused. And it's imperative. It's winter now. We're still in the crisis. It's obviously lasted, the pandemic has lasted longer than we expected, but it's worse than it was at the beginning of 2020. And so I really appreciate council support. I appreciate the activist community who brought this forward to me and is working also to lobby our courts to extend this moratorium.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members? Seeing none, our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which are or may be for city council. Profanity will not be permitted. May we have the first speaker, please? And the first speaker I have is Shaman Po Mai. Shaman Po Mai. Do we have the speaker?
Greetings of peace, light, and love. My title is Ukahana Hau Makina, the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy.
Wait a second. So I called Shaman Po Mai.
Shaman Po Mai, my apologies.
Sorry. Is Shaman here? Okay, I do not see Shaman, so we'll take Ikana Helm Makina. Ikana, you were just on.
Greetings of peace, light, and love. My title is Ikahanahau Makina, the Grand Inca, the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. I would like to speak to you all today and acknowledge the efforts made by specifically Councilman Ricky Burgess, Reverend Ricky Burgess, for being a consistent, outspoken advocate for the so-called Black community. I appreciate the passion and compassion expressed on their behalf, because these are the people, the so-called Black people, that need these resources and need this economic development focused on them. For our communities have been left in deplorable conditions, but when there is funding provided for the urban development, it specifically doesn't reach the people that it needs to reach, the people who once occupied the places and spaces in the territory that you now call Pittsburgh, such as Heron Avenue and Wiley Avenue and 2nd Avenue along in Hazelwood and Frankstown Avenue, specifically in Homewood, and the North Shore, the Mexican, so-called Mexican War Street area, Federal Street, to name a few. These are the places and spaces that need the economic development and urban renewal funds dedicated to them specifically for and advocated for the so-called Black people. So our children are able to see us thrive once again. They're able to see us running businesses. They're able to see and look up to their mothers and fathers because they are part of the economic situation here in this territory. They have been systematically oppressed and systematically disenfranchised and left out of the equation. And so we now need to take purposeful steps to provide these opportunities to these marginalized communities and marginalized people. And let's not forget the dozens of mothers and fathers who are in prison, in debtor's prison, and don't have this opportunity provided to them. How about we advocate for them as well? We advocate for them because they have children that are left behind that also fall into that same pattern. We're going to have to begin to do things that are different, things that are not scripted or have been done before, because obviously if you keep doing the same thing, and you're only going to get the same results doing the same thing. And so in areas of technology, in areas of science, in areas of land access, construction, permaculture, agriculture, environmental justice programs, natural medicine and healing, these children need these opportunities. These children need these examples.
Thank you. And our next speaker is Patrick Wishon.
Hi, so I came today to talk with regards to the proposed 2021 budget, in which I am requesting, as I imagine various other members of the community, requesting that you defund the police by at least 50% and stop police-related infrastructure projects like the relocation of the Zone 5 station to East Liberty. Personally, I think it's ridiculous that this budget is the response to the activism and protests that we saw not only this summer, but even beyond that, from groups like Black Lives Matter. And this is frankly disrespectful to the efforts that they've made. The people who went out and did the work even during the coronavirus pandemic, and to discount their work and the efforts they've put towards this cause with the minimal decrease in police funding in the proposed budget is absurd. Additionally, I'm requesting that you would use that funding to fund public housing. Right now in Pennsylvania, there is an eviction crisis ongoing, even with the eviction moratorium being passed. Shelter is a human right, and the fact that so many or on the verge of homelessness because of housing that they cannot afford is cruel, and our communities most vulnerable are at risk right now, not only with the winter that we're all seeing today with the snow and the winter storm warning, but also with the coronavirus pandemic and the lack of knowledge of how soon we'll be getting a vaccine that will give us herd immunity. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ava Conrad. Ava Conrad.
Yeah, I would like to speak alongside some of the statements that have already been made. I definitely agree that the use of our funds, about $3 million to relocate the Zone 5 police station, is like ridiculously absurd. Claiming that the reason for the relocation of this police station is purely because of the Washington Boulevard flooding issues. But I do believe that this is a grander issue. If flooding is this bad, not just police officers should be able to go to work. People live on this street. We should be using those millions of dollars to fix the issue rather than using that as an excuse to further gentrify East Liberty, which is clearly the motive here. It does feel really disrespectful after this summer and all of the uprisings that we've seen nationally and internationally. I also do find it very disturbing that Bill Peduto has proposed to cut emergency health service jobs during a pandemic. We see that the numbers are going up, obviously, and he has no problem tweeting about how he's concerned about this, yet the budget does not reflect that whatsoever, and does plan to increase the budget for the Borough of Police, which is not okay, and we do not need that. We know that Bill Peduto has increased the police budget over the last 7 years, 50%, as the population of Pittsburgh has decreased, which makes literally no sense at all. And our common sense should tell us that that money should be going to uplifting our community and going towards social services. As we know, via Bill Peduto's Twitter again, the city does not fund education, but there are other ways that the city can invest in the education of the young people that it beholds, and the way that it invests into the youth of this city. And I do think that that's also alongside this common sense, ethical line and boundary of, you know, this money should be going to uplifting the community. It should be going to social services, to more health care jobs. Clearly in this pandemic, we need that, and should not be going further into the Borough of Police. As we see, they have mishandled money, as we saw on June 1st this year, as they used tear gas and rubber bullets on their own citizens who were not rioting or doing anything to deserve, quote unquote, this harsh and brutal militarized response. So that is pretty much the conclusion of my statement. I would love to see this funding used to uplift the community and social services, health services.
Thank you. And we have our next speaker is Matthew Rubin.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. I am also here to talk about the budget. And in particular, I want to agree that we are spending far too much on the police.
Take your neighborhood, please.
I live in Troy Hill.
Thank you.
Yep. And so I want to show you all some numbers. So thank you to Deb Gross's office for actually pulling these numbers together. Pittsburgh is one of the most police cities in the country. You see here are some numbers showing us Pittsburgh has about 30 police officers per 10,000 people. We could literally reduce our police force by a full 1/3 and still be on par with many major cities in the country. Those are not revolutionary cities. Those are not cities where they have already defunded the police. Those are cities that also have mass movements calling to defund the police and protesting massive problems with police violence. And this is using 2015 numbers. We actually have a lot more police than we did now in 2015. So speaking of changes since 2015, our police budget, like others have mentioned, has gone up from 70 million to 114 million. That is some big increases. We need to decrease that significantly by at least 50% and use those funds to actually take care of folks who are in crisis right now. And you may be thinking, you don't want to defund the police, you want to reform the police, you want to reimagine the police, you want to turn them off and turn them on again. But the reality is that the history of police reform in this country is a history of telling us that we want something that we don't want. What we actually want is reduced interactions with police, reduced funding going to police, because that's what makes people safer. Police reform in this city, we have tried. Just the other day, our esteemed mayor was posting about how Pittsburgh has done police reform in 2015. We did this implicit bias training. It went spectacularly. We were a national model working with the DOJ. But why are we talking about the need to defund the police? Why is he talking about the need to reimagine the police in 2021 if we already did police reform in 2015? Well, the answer is because it didn't work. So looking at this chart, here we see that since that at the same time as our police funding is going up, since that implicit bias training, so is the percentage of people being arrested who are Black. So in 2016, 57% of the people arrested in Pittsburgh were Black. And in 2020, that number is up to 65%. That sounds to me like that implicit bias training explicitly didn't work. Getting worse, that's actually happening at the same time as the population of Pittsburgh that is Black is going down. That seems really, really bad. I think that it's time that we get serious about listening to the people in the streets, listening to the thousands of people who are emailing you, calling you, trying to bug you on Twitter, actually make these meetings also more accessible so that more people can participate in this process. It's ridiculous to me that, in a pandemic and a housing crisis, when 1 in 10 people are facing unemployment in Pittsburgh right now, when 4 in 10 people in Pennsylvania are struggling to pay rent or on the verge of eviction, that we're talking about $11 million that would go to police in the operating budget alone, with tens of millions of dollars more. We need to spend more.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that exhausts our list of speakers. I don't see Charmaine Pomai on here. So that exhausts our list of registered speakers. And now we'll move on to our next order of business, which is presentation of papers. Councilman Burgess, Chair of Urban Recreation.
No new papers, I think. Madam President, no new papers.
Thank you. Good morning, Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
Councilman Coghill, Chair of Public Works.
Good morning, Madam President. No new papers.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Intergovernmental Affairs.
Morning, Madam President. I'm just double checking. No new papers.
Good morning. Thank you, Councilwoman.
You have to.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There they are. I was scrolling up and down I always double check myself. My apologies.
She's keeping us always on track.
I
Thank you.
lost it. Thank you, Brenda.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 934, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the flats on Forward LP 5824 Forward Avenue. Bill number 935, resolution authorizing the approval of the 2021 Housing Opportunity Fund Annual Allocation Plan, Council Districts All.
Thank you. And Councilman Kraus, Chair of Human Resources.
Morning, Madam President. Thank you.
Good morning, Councilman. Thank you.
Councilman Kraus presents Bill number 936, resolution amending Resolution 45 of 2020, which authorized the city to enter into a professional services agreement and/or contract with consultants and/or service providers for professional services in connection with civil service and MPOETC required assessment and evaluation of public safety candidates by increasing the total not to exceed amount of $30,000 to cover services at the beginning of 2021.
Thank you. Councilman Lavelle, Chair.
I have one more, I'm sorry. Bill number 937, resolution amending Resolution 257 of 2018, which provided for a contract from Consulting Services in Industrial Organizational Solutions, Inc. for services related to the firefighter recruitment process by increasing the not to exceed amount by $26,400. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Lavelle, Chair of Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 938, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210 of the City Code, the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance, on behalf of the city, to accept a donation of professional services from Value Capture LLC to provide education and coaching on leader learning in turbulent times via virtual sessions, to include one-to-one and group sessions of pro bono work over a 3-month period with an estimate value of $17,500, and further authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement with Value Capture LLC to set forth the terms of such services. Bill number 939, resolution further amending resolution number 840 of 2019, effective December 23rd, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2020 Capital Budget and the 2020 Capital Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2020 through 2025 Capital Improvement Program, so as to identify specific projects in City Council District 5, remaining citywide programs, and authorize a subsequent agreement for operation, administrative expenses, maintenance, purchase of equipment, and/or rehabilitation of neighborhood facilities on behalf of the residents of the city.
Thank you. And Councilman O'Connor, Chair of Public Safety Services.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 940, resolution authorizing the city's Department of Public Safety to purchase Lafayette polygraph equipment and accessories from Lafayette Instrument Companies, Inc. at a cost not to exceed $15,511.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Strasburger presents Bill number 941, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into an agreement with Beyond 20 and Sherwell to provide and implement an ITSM system to license, implement, manage, operate, and deliver IT services to meet the needs of the city at a sum not to exceed $542,731.80. Bill number 942, resolution amending resolution number 31 of 2020, authorizing the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into a contract with QSIN Technologies, Inc. for the purchase of constituent relationship management software services necessary for the operations of the city's 311 response line by extending the term for 3 additional years and by increasing the authorized spending amount by $173,938.85.
Thank you. And Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 943, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances, that certain structure known as the VA Facility Chapel Building 10, located at 7180 Highland Drive in Lincoln, Leamington, Belmar, and the 12th Ward of the city. The city will be the future owners of these properties, and there has been no objection to the nomination of this property by the owner. Bill number 944, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances, that certain structure known as the VA Facilities Laboratory Building 13, located at 7180 Highland Drive in the Lincoln, Leamington, Belmar, in the 12th Ward of the city. The city will be the future owner of these properties, and there has been no objections to the nomination by the owner.
Thank you. And myself, Chair of Hearings, I have one communication from OMB, the quarterly financial performance report. Madam Clerk.
Council President Smith presents Bill number 945, communication from Kevin Paulus, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting the City of Pittsburgh quarterly financial and performance report for the period ending September 30th, 2020.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to read, receive, and file?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
I should have asked any discussion. And now we'll move on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business before council? Seeing none, the next order of business is reports of committee for final action. Councilman Lavelle, Committee on Finance and Law.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Lavelle presents Bill number 928, report of the Committee on Finance and Law for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 899, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210 of the City Code, the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to accept a donation from the Pittsburgh Penguins Foundation of $50,000 for capital investments for the Amman Recreation Center Rec to Tech remodel. Bill number 900, resolution authorizing pursuant to Chapter 210 of the City Code, the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to accept a donation from the First National Bank Corporation of $50,000 for capital investment for the Amman Recreation Center Rec to Tech remodel. Bill number 901, ordinance amending and supplementing the City Code at Title I Administrative Article 11, Human Resources, Chapter 198, Campaign Finance Regulations at Section 19801, definitions in 19805, public database and reporting. Bill number 902, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Office of Management and Budget on behalf of the city hereby authorized to enter into a grant agreement with Allegheny County for the receipt of the coronavirus funds from the amount of $50,000 for the Bureaus of Emergency Medical Services and Fire. These grant funds shall be used to reimburse eligible city expenditures related to the COVID-19 response as set by county and federal guidelines.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills?
Madam President?
Yes, Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the Ethics Board for around my questions around Bill 2020-0901, amending our campaign finance requirements to include those groups, however loosely affiliated, that are funding campaign advocacy around ballot initiatives. And the background material that they've sent me on dark money and its role in nearby states in local government campaigns. So we continue to talk about other ways that we may help add transparency to these initiatives, as we've seen them be active in local governments, right? Not at, at county or city council level, school board level, in pushing initiatives without being members of the community, telling anyone where they are, who they are, or where they're from, and dumping kind of unlimited amounts of money. So this at least allows us some transparency, and it's timely and important. And I just want to say again, I appreciate them bringing it forward and continuing to provide some research for council members.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members? Seeing now none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bills will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Mrs. Kell Smith, President.
Aye.
Ayes 9, noes 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Corey O'Connor, Committee on Public Safety Services.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman O'Connor presents Bill number 929, report of the Committee on Public Safety Services for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 903, Resolution amending resolution number 765 of 2016, which authorized the mayor and director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into a 5-year professional services agreement with one or more vendors for the continued implementation of the city's spay and neuter in order to increase the not to exceed cost of $40,000.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Aye.
I don't know whose phone that is.
Aye, yeah, there's incredible noise interference.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Aye.
I think that might be Kim's volume. Kim, you may have to put on some headphones. I'm not sure. I think you read Councilwoman Gross. Yours is. Put it on mute. Put it on mute. I'll call. Okay, so we have Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Cargill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Council President Smith.
Aye.
Ayes 9, 0 noes.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilman Anthony Coghill, Committee on Public Works.
Madam President,
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 930, report of the Committee on Public Works for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 925, resolution further amending resolution number 795 of 2015 as amended, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor and Directors of the Department of Public Works, Office of Management and Budget, Finance, and Park and Recreation to enter into a lease agreement with CRJRS Chip, Inc., doing business as the First Tee of Pittsburgh at the Bob O'Connor Golf Course at Shinley Park in order to add an additional $362,531 of funding to the lease authorization.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
aye.
Mrs. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Council President Smith.
Aye.
Ayes 9, 0 no.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to Councilman Burgess, Chair Committee on Urban Recreation.
Madam President,
Thank you, Councilman.
thank you.
Reverend Burgess present Bill number 931, report of the Committee on Urban Recreation for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 898, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Parks and Recreation to execute relevant agreement to receive grant funding from the Digital Harbor Foundation by way of the National Science Foundation to participate in a multi-city effort to improve technology and technology-related educational programming. This grant will support the city's Rec to Tech initiative and will focus on building curriculum and tech improvements at 2 city recreation centers over 3 years. This resolution further provides for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $345,182.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bills? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call them?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Ms. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Council President Kell Smith.
Aye.
Ayes 9, 0 no's.
Those having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And now that moves us on to Councilwoman Strasburger, Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management. Councilwoman.
Councilwoman Strasburger presents Bill number 932, Report of the Committee on Innovation, Performance, and Asset Management for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 904, Resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into a fellowship participation agreement with Coro Pittsburgh Public Allies Sites. Bill number 905, Resolution amending Resolution 348 of 2020, which authorized the mayor and director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into a 3-year contract with SRE, granting uncapped citywide access to SRE's product for all departments by amending the not to exceed amount to include data migration by $300,000. Bill number 907, Resolution authorizing the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the city to enter into an agreement, including a non-disclosure agreement with Mobility Impact Partners, LP, to engage in strategic market and technical dialogue about mobility and energy concerns. Bill number 908, Resolution amending Resolution 840 of 2015 entitled, A Resolution authorizing the mayor and director of parks to enter into an agreement with Apply for Technology, LLC, in order to license film and event planning software and to purchase maintenance and solution support services, costs not to exceed $31,405, in order to clarify the start date of the contract as the implementation date of the services rather than the commencement date of the contract, and reflect changes to funding sources.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bills. Are there any discussion on the bills?
Madam Clerk, may I?
Yes.
Woman Gross?
Sorry, Madam President.
That's it.
I apologize, Madam President.
Okay.
Yes, I'm speaking to Bill 2020-0907. I appreciate the chair giving us executive session to hear, or I'm not sure if it was briefing or executive session, to hear about this proposed agreement with a non-disclosure agreement with the private equity company, Mobility Impact Partners, LP. And I just, I'm not comfortable with allowing members of the administration to meet privately with a private equity company. And I wasn't persuaded that there was some bonus or jackpot that was, by meeting with the companies that the private equity company would profit from, even though there's a, meeting with some half a dozen other cities involved. It doesn't seem to me that, especially with the non-disclosure agreement, they can't assure us or the public that nothing untoward was discussed, that there wasn't inside information or commitments made that should have been, these kinds of conversations should happen in public. And so we'll just only have everybody's word that they only shared information that we would all be comfortable with without us knowing what that is. So I'm definitely voting no on Bill 2020-0907, and I would hope other members would also vote no. I think this is not a good precedent. Certainly, if there's anything that a private investment company, which are private equity companies, are the kinds of companies that are trying to redirect revenue away from public sources into their own companies that they represent around the country. I think this is a bad precedent, and any conversation that they have that should be had in public. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members?
Madam
Councilwoman
President?
Strasburger. Yes,
Thank
Councilwoman.
you. Yeah, so I wanted to just state that I appreciate the spirit of what Councilwoman Gross is saying. I understand that private industry can and has taken advantage of cities. We've seen that here in Pittsburgh. And certainly we don't want to repeat some of the mistakes that have been made with private mobility companies in Pittsburgh and in other places. In this case, I'm not persuaded that is necessarily a path that we're going down. That said, I do appreciate the spirit of what is being said, and I wanted to offer that I would be happy to call for a whatever would be most comfortable or most desired by members of council, an executive session so that we can get briefed after the Mobility Impact Partners discussions all happen, maybe in combination with a briefing or a public post-agenda session. I'm not expecting that to sway members necessarily in favor of voting for it, but I did just want to offer that as an option as well. And I would be happy to call for that when the time is right, if this bill passes.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other members? Seeing no other members, I'm just going to say I feel the same way. It's not that, and I want to be honest, the administration, it's not that we don't trust them. And even, Councilman Gross mentioned that during the executive session. It's not that a matter of trusting the current administration. It's just the optics of the whole thing. And I think that was a very good point. And I just, at this point, I don't feel comfortable voting for it. And and as I said, it's not that I don't trust the company. It's not that I don't trust the administration. And I believe that this was something that the director really wanted to have happen. And I'd like to give her everything she needs to do the job that we demand of her to do every day in the city. But at the same time, this is just something I just don't feel comfortable with. I'm sorry that I can't vote for it either. So seeing no other members, the bills are now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Was that me?
Yes, Ms. Gross, I'm sorry, I think
Thank
hers
you.
is going out too.
No on Bill 2020-09-07 and aye on all other bills.
Okay, Mr. Kraus. You're on mute.
I'm sorry. Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
Council President Smith.
Aye on all bills excluding Bill 0907, and I vote no on that bill.
Okay. On bills 2020-097, ayes 7, noes 2. On all other bills, ayes 9, no 0.
Thank you. The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. That moves us on to our final committee of the day, Councilwoman Deb Gross, Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill number 933, Report of the Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs for November 23rd, 2020, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 793, Resolution Adopting Plan Revision to the City of Pittsburgh's Official Sewer Facilities Plan for the 3173 through 3719 and 3721 Butler Street.
You've heard the reading of the title of the bill. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Reverend Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Coghill,
Aye.
Mrs. Gross,
Aye.
Mr. Kraus,
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle,
Aye.
Mr. O'Connor,
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger,
Aye.
Mr. Wilson,
Aye.
President Smith.
Aye.
Ayes 9, no 0.
The bills having received the legally required number of votes are finally passed. And that moves us on to motions and resolutions, and we have some meeting announcements. Council will hold an executive session this afternoon at 12 noon relative to the historic designation of St. John Vianney Church in Allentown. Also this afternoon at 1:30, Council's budget hearing will continue with the Commission on Human Relations chaired by Councilman Kraus, and Councilman Kraus will also chair the Carnegie Library meeting, and then we'll have the Oakland Business Improvement District and the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, both chaired by Councilman Lavelle. Council will meet for their standing committee meetings tomorrow Wednesday, December 2nd at 10 a.m., chaired by Councilman Lavelle. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m., council budget hearings are scheduled for the Department of Law. The hearing for finance has been rescheduled. Well, actually, we're going to hold that, correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
That may be rescheduled. It's tentatively scheduled for tomorrow at December 4th at 10 a.m.
Yes.
I'm sorry, no, wait. Let me read that again. Tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 p.m., council's budget hearings are scheduled for the Department of Law, and the hearing for finance may be rescheduled, and if so, we'll let you know. But as of now, it's tentatively scheduled for tomorrow
Yes.
at 1:30. To register to speak the standing committees meeting, please call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138 by 9 a.m. Wednesday morning, or send comments via email to the city clerk's office at pittsburghpa.gov. Please keep in mind that public comment is not taken at budget hearings, but residents are free to register to speak at any upcoming weekly council meeting and at the citizens participation hearing on December 14th. Please call the clerk's office to register. As with all council meetings, budget hearings are streamed live via the City Channel Pittsburgh on YouTube. Now I have Councilman O'Connor. You have something?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. President. So a couple weeks ago, I hosted a post agenda on the mayor's task force. And the biggest questions that came up there were implementation. Spoke to public safety, and they would like to hold a post agenda discussing what they've implemented from the mayor's task force already. So I would just like to make a motion, whatever we're calling this, Zoom public here or post agenda on public safety's implementation of the mayor's task force report.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Any all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any discussion? And thank you, Councilman. I'm looking forward to that conversation. And I'd like to call for a post agenda and a public hearing regarding the COVID pay that the administration just recently put in. We'll get it scheduled quickly so it doesn't interrupt any schedule for implementation. We just want to make sure that people have an opportunity to hear details, because we're getting a lot of questions from businesses and from people that want to know how their business will be affected, their companies that they work with. So I'd like to make a motion for a public hearing and a post agenda.
Second.
Good pay. Thank you. We have a
Second.
motion is
Second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
discussion? Okay, thank you. We'll get those scheduled quickly.
Well, yeah, I do have a discussion. Is there an opportunity to, talk about the bill tomorrow and then make those motions?
Yes, we can talk about it tomorrow.
I mean, we haven't had an opportunity as a council to talk about what that legislation means. I know people are in need of that type of legislation.
Right.
And, I don't want to, my concern is just the delay in moving this forward. But,
And,
because
I've talked to the administration today. I have no interest in delaying it. I do think that we have a responsibility to make sure people understand what we're asking of the businesses and what people can look forward to from their companies, and so that they understand what their rights are too. I think we have, so I'd like to make sure that we have the meetings.
Madam President, can I join this conversation?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, are there legal obligations for notification for public hearing? Is it 30 days, or would that not apply in this case?
10.
10 days, 10 business days or 10 calendar days? I can't remember now.
How about if I say we'll just do the post agenda and then we'll talk about the public hearing tomorrow?
Sure, that would be great, Madam President. Thank you. So want to amend the motion?
Yeah, so I'm amending the motion, withdraw my motion for a public hearing, and I still keep the post agenda.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Council.
Can I
Aye.
speak for a second? I have a question for the council president.
Who is this? No. Sorry, this is only for council members now. Thank you.
I'll be back in 1 second.
But you can come during public comment if you have questions more.
Mhm.
We're going sledding.
Okay, so now with that said, can we have a
I'm
motion
wondering,
to
how do you find out about the
excuse
public?
the absent members and approve the minutes and adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Thank you. So we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.